wins and 3 Champions League finals. And the greatest team of all time is now, widely recognised as being that Barcelona team that we played twice in the Champions League final. Do you ever look back at those 2 matches and you're smiling now? Because obviously I was there, I think, for both of them in terms of hearing the sort of team talks. I retired on the second one, was still in the dressing room now. Do you look back at those things and think, that would have been us? We'd have been the greatest team of all time if we'd beaten Barcelona in them 2 games. What do you reflect upon those 2 games and how, what could we have done differently?
That Barcelona team? They were too good. Seriously, they were just like that. That's it. Like it almost gives me a little bit of like what's the word where you go? It takes the sting out of it a little bit that they were actually that good. If we get a team that's in and around us, we should have done a bit more. Listen, they took all our weapons off us, and we went to a war with no guns, no knives. Like that's what it felt like. It's the only time in my career I've been in a game and thought, we can't do anything. That's what it felt like. And they were that good. They had us like on a roundabout, continuous, just like flying about. That Barcelona team? They were too good. Seriously, they were just like that. That's it. Like it almost gives me a little bit of like what's the word where you go? It takes the sting out of it a little bit that they were actually that good. If we get a team that's in and around us, we should have done a bit more. Listen, they took all our weapons off us, and we went to a war with no guns, no knives. Like that's what it felt like. It's the only time in my career I've been in a game and thought, we can't do anything. That's what it felt like. And they were that good. They had us like on a roundabout, continuous, just like flying about, busy. I remember me and Emmanuel standing at Wembley and just, you have that sometimes you ever look at each other during a game. It's like you haven't got to say a word, but
yeah.
We're getting
gosh.
We're getting pumped. And like can't do nothing about it.
Who was their forwards then? The front three?
I remember me and Emmanuel standing at Wembley and just, you have that sometimes you ever look at each other during a game. It's like you haven't got to say a word, but we're getting
gosh.
We're getting pumped. And like can't do nothing about it.
Who was their forwards then? The front three?
Was it Pedro Messi? One side. Messi was the false number 9 then and just didn't play nowhere near David Villa. It was one of the Pedro was the one. Yes. Yeah. Like because without the ball, he was a trigger. Trigger, run behind, but the trigger, as soon as they lost the ball, bang, he was like, they were so aggressive. All 5'5", aggressive, just take the ball off you.
I always remember the game,
they were saying, you would have an advantage because it's not Wembley. Kind of hold that.
I remember when the teams got picked, and I was at home, obviously desperate to see Barcelona win it, but no, I remember looking at the Man U team going, wow.
Very good team.
Giggsy played centre, it was 4-4-2. Giggs was in centre midfield, I think, with Carrick. And I'm thinking,
you're not getting the ball
even
back.
if you had Roy Keane and Brian Robson at the peak, in a 2 on their own in there, you get run around. And this is like, obviously Giggsy and Carrick, great players. And I always remember Wayne scored just before half time. And me watching, I was thinking, because if you're getting beaten 1-0, it's hard to go more defensive, if you know what I mean. And I was watching that thinking, the Rooney goal means it gives you a chance to actually get another midfield, or move Wayne wide and bring someone else in. Just go 4-5-1, and you can do that 1-1. And then you come out second half, and it was the same. And I was like, oh my God.
So you need about 9 in midfield.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I was with Bastian Schweinsteiger yesterday, I interviewed him. And they got pumped off Barcelona. I don't know what year it was, but then they played them the year after and they beat them 7-0 over 2 legs. And basically they had a meeting before the game and they basically worked to Robin and Ribery, the wide players. And obviously Barcelona's midfield fullback sometimes would come into midfield and they literally said to Robin and Ribery, just stand in central midfield with us and we're just going to, how many players they have in there, we're just going to go over and exactly the same number of players in there. And they ended up doing them in the end and counter-attacking off them. But we were quite open in midfield that game, weren't we?
Did you feel like they just had an extra player? I remember playing Spain most of the time.
3 or 4 players.
And I'd be like, I remember one point counting the players on the pitch. I was like, how have they got like? It was as if they had extra players.
I remember just standing there. I picked up the ball. It was a bit of a scuffle with Busquets, and I was late on there when I took the ball off him, and the referee blew the whistle, and he went, Vidic, boom, boom, boom. Was it? Just smash it. I was saying just like, I think I actually almost laughed. I was so embarrassed. I've never been so embarrassed on the pitch, and I remember standing after the game watching them go up to get the trophy. It was me, Giggsy, and Scholesy, and Wazza might have been there. And everyone does that now. And we would have started that. But let's get off this pitch. We've been embarrassed.
That's the problem when you play for a big club like United. You play Barcelona, you're on about you just do a week play, but sometimes
you have to
it's
change.
good. You have to change.
Yeah.
You're playing against these brilliant teams, and we've done it earlier. Barcelona used to toy us, and we'd always play 4-4-2. So sometimes you look back and go, yeah, it's nice to be brave. There's a fine line between brave.
Yeah. We beat Spain in the Euros, and we had 20% possession, and they had 80, but we hit them on 2 counters. But if we hadn't played like that, we would have got absolute. So you do have to.
We done it in 2008, hadn't we?
Yeah. Away.
Yeah.
We've done it away.
Well, and you would.
Yeah.
No, we beat them in the semi-final in 2008. It wasn't Pep's team. It was something similar. Scholes scored the long-range goal.
Right, yeah.
2 legs, yeah.
And did they dominate possession?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that game, the tactics, we kind of played in both the games, both them finals, we played pressing really high.
Proactive, yeah, weren't we?
And our game around that time probably wasn't that against the big teams in Europe when we were going playing, like Lyon away was a hard game back then, and other teams we used to play. We used to be a bit more solid.
Do you think it was something to do with this interesting? So I go back to the Champions League final. We played in 2005, but we did something different in that final that we done getting there. And I don't know if it's something to do, speaking to Rafa afterwards, it was about, it's a one-off game, it's not a 2-leg. So sometimes when you go away, you go, okay, we're doing this, and then we're going to get them at home, and we're going to do this. I don't know, maybe it might be something to do with that in terms of it's a one-off game, it's a final, no one's home or away.
The boss is a maverick, he smells something and just goes with it, you know what I mean? And that's what I think he was. And to be fair, his instincts were right, because in the first game in Rome, if you remember, we had 3 or 4 chances that we could have scored off them playing that, but us pressing really high. But once they got that goal, the game was there.
Do you know what I think we're thinking about him? I think that he thought of the game as being, this is my legacy.
Yeah.
And I think he thought, I need to win this the way that I play, and we're going to go and take on Barcelona, and we're going to go and sort of, if you like, because I think the year before when we beat them in the 2008 semi-final, I don't know if you remember, you talked about tactics before, about we never did anything different. Do you remember Carlos putting the map?
Oh, yeah.
It's the only time I've ever seen a Manchester United coach. You talked about it before, and I thought about it. He put a map on the pitch, like a rug. I don't know what it was. It was some sort of like
cones on.
Yeah, and he basically said to Scholes and to Carrick, who were in midfield, he said, one of you's always got to be stood there, right? And so basically, if anyone, and we did the most disciplined performance I've ever seen. He actually put Rooney and Ji-sung Park, I think, in the wide areas. It was Scholes and Carrick in midfield. And basically, with this training for 2 days, even handball at times, because it was like in between games, where basically, let's say Carrick went over to this side, Scholes had to be literally on this map, and they did it in the game for 180 minutes. The only time, but we were literally like,
did it work?
Remember Arsenal? Arsenal at City last week. It was exactly like that for 180 minutes, and then Scholes scores a worldie.
Like protection. Are you going to go to DFS and drop a rug off a calendar?
For Sunday. Real. The opposite of that, the last game I saw you play was as a pundit. Would it be at QPR at home? You finished at QPR, didn't you?
Yeah. Not good times.
And I watched you then. I thought, I always remember I finished at United, and that was me. I know you talked about it, going up to Celtic, and you think about, do you wish you'd finished at United?
Yeah.
It was difficult to watch you at QPR in terms of how it was for you compared to how you'd been.
Yeah, because it's the first time I've been in a changing room and I've heard people talk about money, wages.
That's why you went there, wasn't it?
I'm just like, are you not training? No, like, I'm on 60 grand a week, I don't care. Like, there was like,
Nigel was just actually there. What's been done about dinner or not? I told him that you were getting a takeaway. Are you getting a takeaway? You told me you were getting a takeaway. I'm only asking. Oh.
No, I'm doing a spaghetti bolognese with potatoes.
What do you do now, Jeff?
Glasses, and then we got shoes.
That's all sorted.
What's your story now? Regarding things now? We must collect 9 or something, was we?
Well, I have to go across the outside and try to you get me?
Yeah. When the traffic is gone, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I come home and I drive in your car then. Drive.
Like, things you'd hear.
Why is no driving his car across as well?
Biggie, Nathaniel, what's up? How you guys doing?
I think I might, yeah. I think I do actually. Well, he was just asking. Would I go down? He's in Castleknock Village at the moment. He's walking from Castleknock Village down home. She's gone off in the car. And finishes,
Me shirt, what do you know with that shirt?